Update. My husband's ex-wife messaged me within 24 hours of our wedding, and now I don't know what to do. Original post. Hello, I'm really needing your help and some grounded perspective right now because my emotions are all over the place. All names have been changed as friends and family quietly lurk here, and I'd rather not light any unnecessary fires. For background, I, 39 female, have been with my now husband Hugh, 45 male, for just over 4 years. We got engaged in February and decided not to wait around, so we planned our wedding for December and threw ourselves into it. The planning went smoothly. The day itself was beautiful, the sun shone, and the people we love were there. It was one of those rare days where everything feels right. Both my husband and I are not very active on social media. For us, it's just a quiet way to stay connected. My profile showed I was in a relationship with you, but I never bothered to update it when we got engaged. I hardly ever post, rarely comment, and I certainly wasn't broadcasting wedding countdowns or newlywed bliss online. Hugh's ex-wife, let's call her Chardonnay, 43 female, was with him for around 12 years. 9 years dating, 1 year engaged, and 2 years married. From everything Hugh, his friends, and even his mother have told me, their relationship was unstable. They broke up on 4 separate occasions. His parents and best friend asked him more than once if marrying her was the right decision, because they could see how unhappy he was. Hugh, always trying to do the right thing, believed marriage would somehow fix what was broken. Financially, Hugh carried almost everything. He paid most of the bills, the food, the holidays, and bought her a car. Chardonnay worked part-time as a teaching assistant, and her income was treated as her spending money. When friends asked her about her ambitions, she openly said she didn't need a job because Hugh paid for everything. After 2 unhappy years of marriage, Hugh asked for a divorce. 2 weeks later, COVID hit. What should have been a clean break turned into a slow, painful, emotionally draining process. Chardonnay refused to move out until a court order forced the issue, and when that day came, she did not go quietly. Then came the message. Less than 24 hours after I married the man I love, while I was still floating somewhere between joy and disbelief, I received a private message from Chardonnay. She wrote that she thought I'd just married her ex-husband, that he had been trying to contact her on and off for years, most recently 3 days ago. She said I'd probably heard awful things about her, that Hugh demonizes his exes and never takes responsibility, that she loved him deeply and was still trying to recover from the damage he caused, that she didn't want contact with him, but felt she had to warn me because she'd been exactly where I am, that he would never give me the life he promised, that when he's good, he's perfect, but when he's bad, it's torture. And just like that, the glow of newlywed happiness cracked. I trust my husband. I truly do. I am confident there is nothing behind her claim that he's been trying to contact her. I also happen to be friendly with one of Hugh's other exes. Let's call her Marie, who is a longtime family friend. Their breakup was amicable. While Hugh was with Chardonnay, she forbade him from speaking to Marie at all. After the divorce, Hugh reconnected with her. Marie is now happily married with 2 children and has told me plainly that I have nothing to worry about and that this feels like Chardonnay stirring the pot. Hugh has never demonized his exes to me, but he did express the issues he had during the divorce, which others, his family and friends, confirmed, as they heard her ranting when they called him to check in. Still, the timing hurt. The cruelty of it hurt. Receiving that message so soon after our wedding felt like someone deliberately reaching into a moment of pure happiness and trying to ruin it. I haven't replied to her. I don't know if I should. Part of me wants to protect my peace. Another part of me feels unsettled simply knowing the message exists. This is not how I imagined the beginning of married life. What would you do? Now for the top advice before reading the updates. I like to be petty, so I would write back, "Hi, thank you for your heads up. 4 years too late, which only proves you did this just to hurt me and us. I'm happy to inform you our relationship is exactly as we want it, and we're very happy, so you don't need to worry. And even if something goes awry, I won't come to you for support, so there's really no need for you to keep tabs on us. We're fine and don't need your concerns. You are free to live a happy life. Please don't let us live rent-free in your head. You don't take up space in our lives, so we really shouldn't take any space in yours. Best regards, the happy newlywed missus. Do consider blocking her on social media. She's toxic and just wants to hurt you because he made a better life with you than with her. Leaving her on unread is better than any response, no matter how this is worded. Leaving it unanswered would chap the ex's pantaloons more. She wants the satisfaction of a response from OP, in my opinion, of course. Be honest with your husband and show him the message. Let him deal with it. Mute her in case you need to get a restraining order or something. You trust your husband, and you've also heard it from other sources. I'm always wary of guys who badmouth exes, but your husband hasn't done that to you. He's vented to his friends and family who knew the situation. He wasn't bad-mouthing her to you, which to me is a good sign. This 100%. Screenshot it, save it, show it to your husband, show it to his family. Just mute the thread so that you don't see it, but allow the messages to come through in case you do need that restraining order. She's just doing this because she found out he got married and she's jealous. Now for the first update. Thank you all for your comments, advice, and congratulations. It meant a lot to me. I didn't think I would get so many comments. So, a bit of an update. I did tell my husband about the message. He was in the room when I saw it, and we read it together. He said he hasn't been actively trying to contact her and offered his phone for me to check, but I didn't need to. In the run-up to the wedding, he was with me doing wedding prep and wouldn't have had time to contact her 3 days ago. Plus, he's pretty bad at lying, and both his mom and I know when he's telling porky pies. I haven't accepted a social media message from Chardonnay, and therefore I don't think, though I'm not certain, she can see if I've read it or not. I also don't think she can send any more messages until I accept it, which I currently have no intention of doing. Second update 3 weeks later. So I did what any emotionally stable, newly married woman would do. I ignored the message and went on with my life. Christmas happened. New Year happened. I returned to work. Peace was restored. Chardonnay and her unsolicited opinions were firmly filed under Not My Circus. Because I never accepted her original message, she couldn't send another one. Nature was healing. I left it untouched, like a haunted object you absolutely do not open. My husband also did a full digital spring clean. Mutual friends were unfriended, access was cut off, and I smugly assumed she could no longer stalk us on social media. I was wrong. As we approached 1 whole month of being married, we decided to finally update our socials. Most of our wedding guests still hadn't posted their photos, and we knew they were itching to unleash them. Love, happiness, wedding pics. Within 1 hour, yes, Chardonnay is back. On an entirely different platform, because when one door closes, apparently she simply downloads another app. I haven't opened the message because she can see when I read it, and I refuse to give her the satisfaction. It's just sitting there menacingly. A Schrodinger's DM. Now I'm stuck wondering, do I tell her to leave me alone and block her? Do I continue ignoring her like the emotional vampire she is? Do I ask for this so-called evidence she keeps hinting at? Or is that exactly what she wants? I don't want to add fuel to the fire, but these random pop-up appearances are very clearly designed to mess with my marriage and my sanity. Ma'am, please find a hobby that doesn't involve my husband. I showed the message to my husband. He's mortified, keeps apologizing, and says he'll sort it. Meanwhile, I'm over here wondering why his ex keeps reaching out to me. Just block her. No need to read anything. Block and go on with your happy life with your new husband. This, block and save. If she escalates, it can be used as evidence. And tell hubby, under no circumstances should he contact her to take care of it. That's what she wants. Both of you need to block and live your happy lives. She's giving off stalker vibes. I'm so nosy that I wouldn't be able to help myself. I'd absolutely make her my second source of entertainment. Completely gaslight her with a fictitious version of reality. Tell her you won the lottery and are moving countries. Keep the lie going with numerous plot twists. But don't be like me. OP, please be like this person. This is hilarious. I dealt with a similar situation to this when my husband and I got married. Except, I bluntly told her that I was uninterested in any of the things she had to say, and that I didn't want her contacting me again. After 17 years, it's been fully determined that everything she said was a lie. I hope in your case she decides to find another tree to bark up. I did the exact same, wording and everything. Next story. Am I the a-hole for not allowing my sister-in-law's husband to stay in the bridal suite while we were getting ready? For my wedding day, we rented a hotel suite in the city. I paid for hair and makeup for all my bridesmaids, and as a courtesy, I also paid for my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law. I'm not close to my sister-in-law, but she's very close to my husband, so I included her. On the morning of the wedding, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law arrived late because my sister-in-law and her husband had been on a beach trip. When they arrived, my sister-in-law brought her husband into the suite with his clothes to get ready for the wedding later, which surprised me because she didn't mention anything about bringing him with her. All three of them sat on the couch, and her husband stayed there on his phone. I texted my husband asking if he was supposed to stay and get dressed there. He didn't know either. I told him this was meant to be a women-only space, since all of us were wearing robes that open easily and our underwear was visible. I asked my husband to tell his sister that her husband could wait in the hotel lobby, but she refused and was also against the idea of him driving back alone to our house to get ready with my husband and the groomsmen because she didn't want to risk him getting lost since he's from another country. He's from Puerto Rico. We're from the Dominican Republic, and he has traveled around the DR many times on his own. She got upset and tried to leave, but the hair and makeup artists convinced her to come back since it was already paid for. She got her hair and makeup done, and then all three of them left anyway and waited in the lobby. They even ended up getting dressed in the lobby bathroom, even though my mother-in-law and sister-in-law were allowed to stay in the suite if they wanted to. My mother told me privately that she thought it was rude to bring a man into a room where only women were getting ready. So, am I the a-hole for not allowing him to stay there? Was I being inflexible? She was clearly very upset about the whole thing, and I understand that maybe she didn't want to have him sit alone for hours in the lobby while we were getting ready, but I didn't know what else to do. No, not the a-hole. Her husband is an adult, right? I think he can entertain himself for a few hours. Bar, take a walk, Uber to wherever your husband is. Plus, he's from Puerto Rico, not Mars. I am reasonably sure he can function reasonably well in many places. I forgot to add, my brothers and the maid of honor's husband were also at the hotel lobby, dropping some things off for us, and offered to hang out with him, and it seems like that wasn't even an option for her. I don't know why. Does he need a caretaker or something? The whole thing was very weird, to be honest. Did it feel like a controlling manner on his part, or just a weird possessive behavior on her part, or something completely different? As you probably know, when someone is under someone else's control or influence, they won't let their spouse do anything without them glued to their side. That's how abusers maintain control. I don't know her very well, to be honest, so her paranoia over him not being by her side is a mystery to me. You know you're not the a-hole. For Pete's sake, what kind of barn-raised clod thinks it's okay for an uninvited person, much less a nearly random man, to be in the room where the ladies are getting dressed? Get your head straight, hon. This was the first skirmish for control, and they've already got you questioning if the service you paid for was exclusionary for kicking a dude out of the women's changing space. I'm always walking on eggshells around his family because they get easily offended, and this was another one of those situations where I was like, what did I do now? Last story. Am I the a-hole? Offered to house my mom during snowstorm, and she invited neighbors without asking me. Hello, I am curious if I'm the a-hole here. I, 31 female, live in a part of the United States where lots of snow and ice took down power lines and trees this past weekend. I am fortunate enough to still have power for myself, my husband, and our baby. I live in a very small house, but offered it to my mom, 56 female, and her dog, who currently have no power, heat, etc. On top of all of this, I have been dealing with a life-threatening illness, and I do not have the energy to take care of myself or even my little daughter, so my husband has been pulling a lot of the weight through this. The first day my mom was without power, I called and offered to drive 30 minutes, pick her up, and bring her and her dog back to my house. She declined as she was worried about leaving her neighbor, also 57 female, whom she had just met the night before, and said she'd tough it out. As soon as the sun went down, suddenly my mom was begging to come over to my house, but I told her it was too late and we wouldn't be driving on ice after dark. The next morning, I called and offered again, and she agreed to come stay with me. As I was trying to get out of our icy neighborhood, she called and let me know that she wanted to bring her neighbor she had just met and the neighbor's dog. I said absolutely not. I'm not trying to be rude, but I cannot take in a stranger and their dog while already struggling to care for my family. Furthermore, I do not want a strange person or a strange dog around my small child. I suggested her neighbor call a friend or check for warming centers, and that if the circumstances were different, I would help. She continued to say I am a heartless, immoral, cruel person, and that she cannot believe she raised me this way. I told her that was fine, and that I would stop offering to come get her. She continued to be nasty until her neighbor left to go to a friend's house. And once my mom was alone, she started begging me to come get her again. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, but your mother is playing you to get her way. If she doesn't understand why bringing in strangers, including someone who is a stranger to her, not just to you, into your home feels unsafe, she can stay where she is. Or save up for a generator next time and host people at her own house. I do understand helping strangers, but your situation is vulnerable, and clearly the neighbor had other options. Thank you. I was starting to feel like maybe I was wrong to have resources, power, heat, the ability to heat up food, and not share them, but I just kept feeling uneasy about putting my little girl in that position. I even told her that, and she wouldn't listen. Not the a-hole. Does your mom even like you? You have a life-threatening illness, and your mom is cussing you out for not letting a stranger and a dog into your house with your baby? Right. I found out I had a life-threatening illness on Friday. I'm supposed to be taking it easy and resting, and I have to call EMS if anything whatsoever changes. The snowstorm hit Saturday, so this is very new, and the illness isn't even under control yet. I'm just managing symptoms right now. Not the a-hole. I can see why you live far away. I live in hurricane country, and we all know how to prepare. By 50, you certainly know. Your mom should know how to navigate these things by now, and inviting someone without asking you first? That's a big problem. My mom is 78, and she is more self-reliant than this. I'd move further away. I can already see you'll be taking care of your miserable mom in less than a decade. I used to live 8 hours away from her, and she picked up and moved 30 minutes from me. The distance was so peaceful, LOL. I wish I could move, but I work a location-dependent job.